Okay, so hey everybody, we're talking tonight about product benefits and recommendations, like which products to recommend based on what your friends or customers are telling you or their situations. And then we're also going to talk about how to start them out on the products. So the first thing that I would recommend for everybody to start out with is the triplex combo, because that is your overall health. I mean, triplex combo and X Factor, if at all possible, have them do that. That's what we call our Fab Four, but definitely the triplex combo, which is Slim, ProBio 5, and BioCleanse. That's going to help with the balancing of the blood sugar and the gut health. And almost all underlying ailments can be traced back to something to do with those two issues, which is why so many people find that they feel so much better, and they report all kinds of wonderful testimonials on the triplex combo. You can do just Slim, and people report great things from that, but they're missing out that key element of the gut health. And our bodies, 80% of our immune system is in the gut. And 90% of the serotonin in our body is produced in the gut. So when the gut is out of balance and the bad bacteria and the yeast overgrowth is really out of whack, then it can throw off our entire health of our bodies. And they're just now getting into the science behind the bacterial flora and how it's linked to so many different issues, not just GI issues, but overall body issues. There's some amazing studies on that. In fact, in the comments below this video, I'm going to post some really neat studies and videos that are coming out on the whole theory behind how gut health is tied to so many different ailments. Now again, yeah, go ahead.
I found a really neat article that was talking about how the better food that you're eating was actually like increasing your brain activity. Like this junk food was actually decreasing your brain activity.
Yeah, and they're saying that that bacteria that's in our gut can actually trigger the foods. It can make us want to eat those unhealthy foods. And if we start eating healthier foods, then we start wanting healthier foods because the bacteria flora in our bodies change. There's a really neat video series that was put out, I think it was in Australia that they did it. And I can't remember the name of it, but it had to do with exactly what I'm talking about. Really great series. It's a 2-part series. And so I'm going to put the links to both of those videos. I think they're 30-minute videos. They're the kind of, they were like on TV on like the educational channel, you know, our version of PBS, but really neat. So I'll put the links to that if you guys want to watch it at your convenience. It'll really help open your eyes into, wow, these gut health products really could help everybody. So I really do recommend that everybody start out on triplex. We'll get into later in the recording how to start them out so that they don't experience too much discomfort and die off as they're killing off all that bad junk in their gut. But definitely that's the one to recommend. When in doubt, triplex. You can always add stuff the second month, but the triplex is the way to go for starting. All right, so overall health. I made a product benefits and recommendations sheet here, and I'm going to put that in the files section. It's also going to be in our new handbook. But Clark and I sat and we really went through it. We modified an existing one that we found to be more in line with what we personally believe. So this is not put out by Plexus. This is just based on our year of experience, what we find and believe based on testimonials we've read and our personal experience. So overall health. I'm going to give you 2 options for each of these, okay? One is if money's no option and to get the maximum benefit, you would put them on these. And then the second option is if they were on a tight budget, what's the minimum that they would want for that, okay? All right, so the first thing, if someone was just wanting overall health, I would put them on triplex, X Factor, and Mega X. If they were on a tight budget and they really couldn't afford all that, I would still try to get them on Triplex. All right, if someone comes to you and they say, I'm really interested in just the weight loss side, I want to lose weight, then I would recommend Triplex with Accelerator or Boost, assuming that they don't have any blood pressure or heart issues. I would have them do Triplex, Accelerator, or Boost, whichever one they prefer, and block. I tend to recommend Accelerator first before I recommend Boost. Just personally, I haven't taken either. Clark's taken both. And I'll just briefly go into the differences real quick. But Accelerator has 5-HTP, which is a mood enhancer. So if they have underlying mood, anxiety, depression, if they eat emotionally or stress related, then the Accelerator can help with that. However, if they're on an SSRI antidepressant for anxiety or depression already, you don't want to put them on Accelerator because it can cause what's called serotonin syndrome. It can combine with the two. So if they're on an antidepressant, then you don't want to recommend that. If they're just, kind of irritable and grumpy at times, then this might help them. All right, and then Boost. Accelerator is also more of a, in my opinion, from what I hear, it's more of a slow and steady energy throughout the day versus Boost is more like drinking an energy drink. It kind of hits you more at once, gives you like 2, 3, maybe 4 hours of good, strong energy. So for people who love to work out and they like all that energy at once, Boost would be what I'd recommend. But if they're looking for a little bit more of a sustained, not quite so strong of an energy kick, then I would recommend Accelerator. Some people say that Boost is great for active lifestyles and Accelerator is more for the desk job or less active lifestyle. But it really depends on the person because everybody responds differently. And one person may love the Boost and the next person may say it made me sleepy. And I have no idea why people react differently. It's just because our bodies respond differently to different things. So again, if they're your customer, you just say, well, there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. I always say give it a few days to take effect because like Clark on his first few days on Accelerator, he had to take a nap. He's like, this thing is making me sleepy. He's like, I'm so tired. And he is always very, very active. I mean, he's my go, 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 constantly doer. And he had to take a nap. Like his first 2 days, like that is so bizarre. But then after a couple of days, his body got used to it and then he had good energy. So I think a lot of it was just the change in his body's metabolism or getting used to it or something. So a lot of times if you just tell your customer, hey, I've heard that that's happened to people in the first few days. If you give it, try to give it to the end of the week and reevaluate. And if it hasn't changed and you still don't like the way you feel, let's call customer service and switch it to Boost. But I've also heard the same thing about Boost. And like, that's weird. Boost made me tired and Accelerator did. So, I mean, just truly try and see if they'll give it enough time to get used to it and then see. But, all right. The other thing about Boost is Boost does have an appetite suppressant and Accelerator doesn't. So really they should not take Accelerator without Slim because the increase in metabolism is going to make them hungrier. So they might find that they're eating more on Accelerator, which is okay. If they're using it with Slim, the Slim should help offset that. All right, so that being said, if someone were trying to gain, well, we'll get to that. Skip that. We'll come back to that. But Accelerator or Boost, again, both are metabolism boosters, okay? So they raise the metabolism. They can increase the heart rate and the blood pressure. They're both thermogenic. So because they're stimulants, I would encourage you to have them talk to their doctors. As far as the caffeine level on these, they're both about 20 to 25 milligrams. So less than a cup of coffee. So it's not like a huge amount of caffeine. And I can put the information about that underneath this video too. All right, so maximum benefit for weight loss, Triplex, Accelerator, or Boost, and Block. I also like Block because Block's going to reduce the absorption of those carbs by 48, up to 48%. So especially if they're carb or sugar eaters. I would throw that in there as well. All right, if they're on a great budget though, and they say, I can't afford all that, but I really want to lose weight, what do you start me out with? I would say either Slim and Excel or Slim and Boost, whichever one you think it would be best for them. Or just Slim if they can't afford it, but really Slim and Excel or Slim and Boost. All right, and then don't forget about when the 96 shakes are back in. That 96 shake challenge has shown some really great results in the belly fat busting. So if you're wanting to get rid of belly fat, it's a 96 shake, a packet of Slim, a cup of coconut milk, and optional like a fourth or half a cup of fruit. I put frozen blueberries in mine, and then you just blend it up real quick. Not, you don't want to over blend it or it'll get like thick like yogurt. Just a real short blend just to where it's mixed. And once a day to replace a meal. People saw like 5 to 7 pounds of weight loss a week, and their belly fat was coming off, and that's why the shakes are back ordered, because when this 96 shake challenge came out, people were having such great results. Everybody was ordering it, and they used to only sell like 5,000 of the shake packages a month, and they were now selling them in like 5,000 in like 4 hours. So that's why.
Should we wait before we recommend them and tell them?
Yeah, I would just say it's going to be August. Yeah, they're back ordered till August. So unfortunately, I wouldn't recommend it even right now. But once it comes back out, I would tell them that's if they ask about it before, then you can say, hey, yeah, they're back ordered because they just released the shake challenge and everybody was in a frenzy to buy them. And so the company is basically stepping up their supply. It takes like a month to produce them. So when they got that far behind and slammed with all those orders, they're like, okay, we're going to make sure that we produce enough so this doesn't happen again. But that's what happened. Okay, pardon me. All right. So then, all right, if someone says, I have really bad sugar cravings or I want to control my appetite, what I would recommend for that is Triplex and Block. Because, again, Slim helps with most people's reduction in sugar cravings. It's kind of that willpower in a bottle, we call it. And Block, it doesn't have an appetite suppressant, but it often, when you take it before meals, it can actually make you feel full sooner, so you eat less. And now, the other reason why I say Triplex and not just Slim and Block is because a lot of times people have strong sugar cravings when they have underlying fungal overgrowth. That yeast in your gut can make you crave sugars and carbs to feed it. So if you have that problem and you take just Slim and Block, you're not doing anything about that going on, and that yeast wants you to keep feeding it. People who crave alcohols and carbs and sugars, a lot of times that's what it is. And so it's really important to tackle the gut health aspect as well. However, it might get worse before it gets better, because as you're killing off that yeast, your cravings are going to be stronger at first. That yeast is going to be like, feed me, I do not want to die, feed me. And you'll be like Elf. Like Buddy, remember when you'd be wanting maple syrup on your pasta, I mean, your cravings will be crazy, which is why you need that Slim to help get you through that. But once you push through that, your cravings for sugar are going to be practically gone. So if someone is communicating to me that that's a huge struggle for them, I evaluate with them if they're ready to take on that gut health challenge and how much they can afford to do. But that would be the Triplex and Block would be what I would ultimately want to put them on. Tight budget, Slim and Block or Slim. Or if they're wanting for something quicker acting, maybe they're not ready for that longer term gut health solution yet. Okay. All right. Metabolism increase or weight plateau buster. So this is someone who's like not seeing enough weight loss with the Triplex, or maybe there's someone who loves to work out and they eat pretty healthy, but they still aren't seeing the results that they want. So for them, it really depends on the situation. If they're not already on the triplex, I'm going to say, again, triplex, because our gut health can hinder weight loss if we've got underlying gut issues. So triplex, but then I'd also throw in accelerator or boost and the block. If they're on a tight budget, I would say slim and accelerator. One thing I want to add, though, is that if someone is just wanting to build muscle, like say they're a guy who wants to work out and build muscle. I talked to one of our bodybuilders, and he said that he did not recommend accelerator or boost for someone who's trying to gain weight and bulk up, because it can actually make the weight loss aspect, it kind of gets ahead of trying to bulk up. So it really depends on their goal. If they're wanting to raise the metabolism to bulk up in muscle, then I wouldn't throw the accelerator block in there. I would just say triplex and X Factor, or triplex and block. But if they're wanting to lose weight and they've hit a plateau and they want to speed up their metabolism, then I would throw in the accelerator. Okay, next one, increased energy. So if you have someone who comes to you and just says, I'm just so tired all the time, I would love to have some extra energy. Obviously, again, the maximum benefit, triplex, because the gut health issue can trigger lethargy, brain fog, low energy. And slim helps you sleep. It balances your blood sugar so you don't get that crash after you eat. So you feel more of a steady energy through the day, and it helps with your sleep. So, with those factors in mind, I'm going to say triplex. I would also say boost if they really want energy. If they're looking for that, they're wanting to replace their Monster drink, or come off a coffee. They love energy. They really want energy. Well, then, tell them boost. And there are also people who say the X Factor has really helped with their energy levels. And I can believe that if there's, if they're vitamin D deficient or some kind of vitamin deficiency that's triggering some of their underlying exhaustion, then I could see that. Not everybody sees an increase in energy with the X Factor, but if they can't take the accelerator or the boost and they're already on the triplex, then try adding the X Factor in. All right, and then if they're on a tight budget and they're wanting to start out for energy, I would say slim and boost. Or slim and accelerator, but if energy is their, what they're primarily looking for, then I think slim and boost would be my first recommendation. Okay, so the next thing is gut health. If someone comes to you and they've got symptoms of fungal overgrowth, I will also put that image underneath this video, but there's a long list of things that fungal overgrowth can cause. Anywhere from just GI symptoms to autoimmune disorders to headaches to toenail yeast, acne, hormonal imbalances, just a huge array of ailments that gut health can trigger. So if they come to me and they're like, well, I don't really need to lose weight, but I've got some hormonal issues going on and I just kind of feel tired all the time and I've got headaches. If those things are on the list with the gut health, my first thought is they need the gut health products. So I'm going to try for the triplex. If that's out of their budget, I'm going to do the ProBio and the BioCleanse. All right. Or if they say, well, I've got, chronic constipation, or I've got Crohn's or IBS or some kind of gut, GI issue going on, then BioCleanse, ProBio and BioCleanse. Those are our gut health duo there, ProBio and BioCleanse. Ideally, you'd want them on Slim too. And try to communicate to them that Slim, despite the name, is not going to make them lose weight if they don't have weight to lose. However, when you're working on your gut health and you start feeding, that ProBio to your system and you're throwing that bad stuff out of whack and it wants you to feed it and you're getting those strong sugar cravings, the Slim is really going to help keep those sugar cravings at bay. It really works with your goal of gut health. So even if it's for like the first month or two to help them, I would still encourage Triplex. It just makes it so much easier. But if they're, you know, again, if they're on a tight budget, no, I'm not interested in the pink drink, then ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. And also, you know, you think about food allergies or allergies in general. Sometimes leaky gut can trigger those things. So definitely the ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. Okay. And X Factor as well, because if they've got gut health issues going on, they're probably not absorbing their vitamins very well. So that might be a good thing. Triplex and X Factor for the maximum recommendation. Tight budget Bio 5 and ProBio 5 and BioCleanse. Okay, if there's someone who is needing stabilized blood sugar, then Slim and Block would be my recommendation. Slim is going to help balance the blood sugars, and Block is going to reduce the absorption. It basically reduces the conversion of the sugars they eat into glucose, so by 48%. So it's like if they eat 2 cookies, they really only one of those gets changed into glucose in their bloodstream. So those 2 products are the best products for the blood sugar imbalances. Okay, muscle and joint pain. So there are some really amazing testimonials of just Slim or Slim and Accelerator helping with pain. Accelerator does have an ingredient that helps with like tension headaches. The Slim kind of helps with inflammation. So I can see that those 2 products could help, but we do have our Ease line now to help with overall discomfort. So what I would recommend if they could afford it would be the Triplex, Accelerator, assuming they don't have any major underlying health issues, you know, like heart or blood pressure, and then the Ease capsules and Ease cream. I know when my aunt got started on Slim or Slim and ProBio, she said that her knee pain, her joint pain just went away, and that was one of the first things she reported. And she loves that. So sometimes you don't need the Ease products. It can happen without it. But anyway, if they're on just a tight budget, they can't afford a whole lot, I probably start them out on the Ease capsules and Ease cream and see if that alone would do it. Okay, and then nerve health, nerve injury, then you would want to add the nerve health support, because the nerve health support can actually regenerate nerve growth factor. So if someone has had a nerve injury, if they have carpal tunnel, or if they have nerves that were injured in an accident, or a neuropathy, anything nerve related, this is the only available product on the market that can regenerate nerve growth factor. Our Dr. Harris, who developed it, has spent 30 years in the chronic pain industry. It's an amazing product. For people with nerve issues, this is going to rock their world. So
we can actually say that it regenerates nerve growth?
I believe that's on the bottle. So take a look at the bottle and see. I know it's on his video when he describes it, and I send that video to customers with nerve issues. He has a video and an audio call. It might have been the audio call, but when in his description of what it does, that is what he says. So I guess I could look. I'll let you guys look. If it's on the bottle, we can claim it. Yeah. What the FDA says, you know, they may try to put a tight hold on us, but if it's on the bottle, we can claim it. If not, refer over to his explanation, because he is an MD and he developed these after all of his 30 years of study in the chronic pain industry. So, okay. But I'm pretty sure that it does. All right. Now, there are, you know, things that we've discussed before, like mood. If I know someone's got underlying mood imbalances, the triplex and accelerator, but again, not if they're on an antidepressant. As far as interactions with medications go, that is a big one with the accelerator. I recently read that there's something with Boost, so I'm going to look that up and I'm going to put it in the comment section. I don't remember now which medication it was, but I will find out for you. The other thing is the BioCleanse has grapefruit extract. So there are some medications that say not to take with grapefruit. This is a very trace amount. I had my father-in-law take it to his pharmacist and he said, it's fine, but I'm not a pharmacist and I'm not saying that you should prescribe that or say that to your customers. I just want to let you know that it is possible that their pharmacist could okay it. Just have them take it to their provider. We really, I think it's good that we all are aware if there's interactions, but all of the people who are on prescription medications should take any supplements that they take to their provider and say, are these supplements okay to take with my prescription medication? One other thing that I do know of that I want you to be aware of is if someone is on a thyroid med, all right, if they take Synthroid or one of those thyroid meds, they're not supposed to eat or drink anything for like an hour to 3 hours. It says on their bottle how long they're supposed to wait. And they need to also follow that same guideline for their Slim and supplements. So if they take their Synthroid when they wake up, they should not drink their Slim right after they take their Synthroid. They need to wait that hour or 2 hours, whatever it's called for. Some people wake up at like 4 a.m. and take it at their bedside so that when they wake up in the morning for real, they can drink their Slim. Other people take their Synthroid at bedtime or they drink their Slim at lunchtime. So I'm not saying that you all have to be nurses here and evaluate everybody's meds, but if someone comes to you and is like, hey, I'm on these medications, do you know of any major, contraindications to taking these? Then what I would say is, well, I know you got to wait your 2 hours after your Synthroid before you take them. But it's really recommended that you just take the product ingredients to your doctor or preferably to a pharmacist because pharmacists are trained in med interactions. Doctors aren't always trained in the med interactions. So the easiest thing to do is to walk into a CVS or Walgreens or wherever there's a pharmacist, preferably a pharmacist, but have them walk in and say, here's the prescriptions I'm on, here's the supplements I want to take. Do you see any major, contraindication here? Are these okay to take together? And the pharmacist can quickly tell them if it's okay or not. All right. So that's pretty much it. If you think of any other questions, if you think of any other things that people are asking for, I want to do this, or if they're asking and I didn't cover it, just send me a message and we'll talk about it. But when in doubt, go with triplex. So.
Oops, I'm sorry. I just unmuted it to ask a question.
Go ahead. What's your question, Shelby?
The grapefruit.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that affects prescription meds? Does that affect birth control? Do you know?
I'm not sure about birth control. I know that there are statin drugs like cholesterol meds, maybe even blood pressure meds, and I think maybe even some sleep medications. I can't remember that they say not to take grapefruit. But I really truly think that it's more drinking and eating grapefruit and grapefruit juice. This small amount of grapefruit extract that's in the product, again, I'm not a pharmacist. I'm just saying that I have heard pharmacists say that is so minute of an amount, it's not going to be an issue. But
okay,
it's always safest for you to take your medication to your pharmacist and say, hey, there's grapefruit extract in this. Do you think it could interact with my medication? And see what they say.
Okay, and then I also had a question regarding the blood pressure. Like in the beginning, you mentioned something about if they have blood pressure problems. Which products were you talking about? Because I have my aunt that wants to buy the triplex combo is what I'm trying to get her on.
Yep.
And I know she says she has blood pressure problems, blood sugar, blood pressure, dairy intolerance and stuff.
Okay.
So triplex would be fine for her, right?
Exactly. Slim
Okay.
can actually help
Maybe that's for
reduce.
you.
Slim can actually help reduce your blood pressure.
Okay.
So if someone's got blood pressure issues, I would put them on Slim or Triplex if they can afford it. There's no dairy in the Triplex, so that's not going to be an issue for her. What I had mentioned is if they have high blood pressure, you want to avoid Accelerator or Boost without their doctor's approval.
Okay. That's what I heard. All right.
Yeah, those are the two that are the stimulants that are going to raise your heart rate and blood pressure. So you don't want to have someone take that without talking to their doctor, especially if they're on blood pressure meds.
Okay.
Once their
And
blood
I have a
pressure is
really-
stable and under control, and then they take it to their doctor and they say, can I add this? If the doctor's okay with it, that's fine. But I would never recommend if they're on current blood pressure meds or they have uncontrolled blood pressure.
All right.
What's your other question?
I think that was it. My other one was kind of off topic. Just it was just my cousin. My aunt is trying to buy it right now, but I told her to turn her auto qualification on first because it wasn't on. If my aunt buys before she turns her auto qual on, she'll still get paid as long as she turns her auto qual on by the end of the month, right?
Oh, okay. I couldn't hear what you were saying. You're talking about auto qual. We'll talk about that at the end. I'm going to do some questions.
Okay, that's what I was trying to say. Though, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a product question, we'll talk about it now during the video, and then at the end, I'll send the video and we'll just do general question and answer time. Sound good?
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So basically, Shelby brought up a good point though about the dairy. As far as what's in the products, none of our products have GMOs. None of our products have gluten. So those are great for people who have gluten intolerances. The only product with dairy and the only product with soy are the 96 shakes. So if they can't have dairy or soy, that is the only product to avoid is the 96 shakes. Everything else is dairy-free and soy-free. And it's not a soy-based protein. It's just the soy lecithin or lecithin, however you say it. It's the emulsifier. It is a whey-based protein, which is dairy. Okay, so. And then as far as the vegetarian, if you have vegan friends, Slim is completely plant-based. There's no animal or, there's no issue with a vegan or vegetarian consuming Slim. However, some of our capsules are gelatin, bovine porcine. I will post the list underneath this so that you can know which ones they are. I know BioCleanse is plant-based, but I'm pretty sure the ProBio is not because it needs to survive through the harsh stomach acids to get into the intestines. And so for that reason, they haven't found a capsule that can do that, that's plant-based, all right? And obviously our Ease products have shellfish. So if they have shellfish allergies, you want to make sure that they know that there's shellfish in Ease capsules and cream. All right, so moving on to our discussion on how to help someone get started. I will, in the very near future, it's on my to-do list, I will have a list for you of like the guidelines, the getting started guidelines. It will save all of us a lot of typing if we have it all on a graphic or written out. But Plexus recommends that you start everybody according to what the bottle recommends if you're going to make a suggestion. However, I do not suggest that you start someone on 2 or 3 capsules of ProBio when they're starting out. So for me personally, these are my recommendations. I always recommend, let's say they order the Triplex or Triplex and X-Factor Accelerator. I really encourage starting out with just the Slim for the first like 3 to 5 days. let them see how they feel on the Slim. You know, they'll probably start noticing some positive benefits, maybe some energy improvement, maybe sleeping better, you know, decreasing cravings. Then after day like 3 to 5, have them start on 1 ProBio and 1 BioCleanse. All right, just 1 of each. The ProBio you want to take at bedtime. Your probiotic works best at night because your stomach is relatively empty, so it's more effective. The pH, it has to do with the pH, but there are people who will tell you that they take it first thing in the morning, and that's okay too. I mean, there's no like perfect, you know, you have to do it this. These are just my recommendations. Lori Harrison recommends taking ProBio at bedtime. She's our fungal queen. I'm going with Lori. All right. All right. So for the entire first week, only 1 capsule of ProBio at bedtime is my personal recommendation. The reason being is because if they ramp up that ProBio too fast and they're killing off too much yeast at once, they could get some really uncomfortable die-off symptoms. Headaches, belly aches, diarrhea, constipation, joint pain. I mean, just feeling like they've got the flu, yeast flare-ups. You know, it can be really miserable. So don't, like, if you ever read somewhere like a yeast challenge, like start them off with 3 or 4. Oh my gosh, you're going to lose a customer. I guarantee it. They are going to be like, this stuff is horrible. It's just, you know, they're going to blame it on the products, and they're not going to realize that it's really the yeast dying that's making them feel miserable. All right, so we want to ease them in slow and let their body slowly get healthy, not throw them into shock, okay? So 1 capsule for an entire week. As long as they're tolerating the 1 ProBio, they're not, you know, having major headaches or any major issues, then it's okay to move up to 2 for the second week. If they're saying, you know, I'm feeling really crummy and I've got these real dull headaches and I just don't feel that great, don't increase their dose until they're tolerating where they're at. Now, if they are experiencing some die-off, I have a online, it's on candidadiet.com, but they have a page specifically about die-off, what it is and how to treat it, you know, how to minimize it. And what it recommends is taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day. And it really does, for people who've experienced this, it really does help diminish those die-off symptoms. So if they're uncomfortable, suggest that they take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C twice a day. And it should help those headaches or those, you know, belly aches or whatever they're experiencing. All right. The other thing is they really need to make sure they're drinking all their water. And they need to find the dose of BioCleanse that keeps their gut moving, okay? Because if all that dead yeast is lingering around inside the body, you're going to feel crummy and miserable. So the water is going to be flushing all that through, and the BioCleanse is going to be keeping it moving out. It's kind of like scrubbing the toilet and not flushing it if you don't take that BioCleanse, all right? The BioCleanse keeps it going out, okay? Keeps it getting out of the system. But you don't want to have them take so much that they're in the bathroom all the time either. So start them off with 1 between breakfast and lunch. If they don't have a bowel movement, they don't, you know, they don't report having to run to the bathroom or anything, then up them to 2 between a meal. If they're reporting, you know, not being regular, if they're still backed up, sometimes ProBio can back you up. For me, it backed me up. So I needed the BioCleanse. So work with your customer. This is really important. Make sure that they know that the BioCleanse, they're looking for the dose that's going to keep them regular. Regular is 1 to 3 times a day, okay? If they only go once or twice a week, they're not regular. They need to increase that BioCleanse. If they're in the bathroom 5 or 6 times a day, they need to back down on the BioCleanse. There's no right dose. You know, you don't have to say it's, you know, take 2 twice a day between meals. Really, it's what their body needs to stay regular. Magnesium is what's in that that's going to keep them moving. It's a gentle product. This is not a liver cleanse or kind of cleanse. When people think of cleanse, they think of like flushing out the system, running to the bathroom. That's not this kind of cleanse. This just has magnesium, helps oxygenate the system, and yeast does not thrive well in a high oxygenated environment. So it actually creates an environment that's not favorable for yeast. So it works with the ProBio in that aspect. And then the magnesium. Magnesium is actually one of the most essential elements in the body. And 80% of Americans are deficient in it. It can cause all kinds of ailments, from Charlie horses to random, just all kinds. I mean, migraines. They say migraines can be related to a decrease. Insufficient magnesium. I'll try and post the article for that as well. But let people know that this is something they can take daily. They just need to find the right dose for them. So start out with one of each of those and then tweak the dose of the BioCleanse to find what keeps them regular. All right, the Slim. The other thing you want to let them know about Slim, a lot of times people don't realize it because the package says 1 or 2 a day. So they start out taking 2 a day and then they're going to run out before their month is out. So let them know that it's recommended just 1 a day. It is okay to take 2 a day. Some people, if they have a long, busy, crazy day, it's a two pink drink kind of day, but it's not something that we typically do on a daily basis unless they're, in a weight loss plateau and they're trying to bump up for that month or something. So just let them know that it's just 1 a day, usually before breakfast. But if you have a late night snacker, they're the kind of person that after the kids go to bed, they sit and watch a movie at 10:30 and they're putting down some potato chips or ice cream, or that's when those late night cravings kick in. For those people, I would actually recommend taking their Slim before lunch so that it lasts longer into the night. Or a second one if they'd rather, if they can afford it and they want to do a second one after lunch. All right, so Slim before breakfast or lunch if preferred. BioCleanse. For me personally, I found that what works for me is taking it first thing in the morning because it works pretty quickly. So I like to have mine right away in the morning. It works great on an empty stomach, which is why they say between meals. So first thing in the morning before I eat is when I like to take it. On the bottle, it's recommended between meals. So you could say between breakfast and lunch, and then if it's not effective, you can take another one between lunch and supper. And the next day you can go up to 2. You can take up to 6. If someone's really chronically backed up or the ProBio is really backing them up, they can take 3 between breakfast and lunch and 3 between lunch and supper. And the bottle does say up to 6 a day. So everybody's different. There's some people with 1 that's the most they need. So everybody's different. All right. And then again, ProBio is at bedtime. Now there's a lot of ambassadors who you'll read, they talk about taking their ProBio and their BioCleanse together at night before bed. And I think Lori has even mentioned that that's what she recommends, is taking ProBio and BioCleanse at night before bed. I tried that at first, and for me personally, I found that the BioCleanse works better when I take it separately. Plexus corporately says that they don't recommend taking them together. So that's why I don't recommend doing that at night. But you will read that people do that. Everybody's different. What people find works best for their bodies it can be different than what works for someone else. So just know that that's why you see so many different things. Okay. Now, if you're going to add in something else, once you get them, set with their triplex dosage and they're doing good on that, I really would recommend doing just triplex or triplex and X Factor. You can throw in the X Factor multivitamin in that. It's not a big deal. For the first 1 to 2 weeks, I really recommend doing just that before throwing in Accelerator or Block or something else. I mean, if you put too much in there, then you're like, well, how do I know which one is, if I'm feeling a certain way, how do I know which one is triggering that? So for me, that's why I just want to start with triplex with my customers. I tend to know what to expect with those 3. All right. So accelerator or boost, when the time comes to add those in, accelerator capsules are they're half the dose. Okay, so if you take one accelerator, you're taking a half dose. They used to be all in one capsule, and people were splitting their capsules. So Flex is like, whoa, 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 you guys don't have to do that. We'll have them for you. So 2 capsules equals 1 dose. So they can start off with 1, and if they need a little more, they can take 2. It is recommended to take those with a meal. Okay, so not on an empty stomach. That's when you get those jitters. Now, there are some people who may try to do that, and they may like it that way, but I don't recommend that you suggest that. The other thing about when you take accelerator or boost with your meal, Slim can help them work more effectively if you take your Slim with it at the same time. So that means you're now taking your Slim and your accelerator or boost with your breakfast. That's what you'll see recommended. The other thing to know is that, I haven't said this yet in this video, but for any of you who are new, it's either accelerator or boost, not both. They do pretty much the same thing, so you don't want to take both. Those are the only 2 products that Plexus carries that should not be taken together. It's either or for those 2. Okay, so if they add an accelerator or boost, they're going to take those with their meal, a high protein meal, and they can take Slim at the very same time while they're eating their meal. All right. I mean, they can still drink it first thing in the morning if they'd rather, but supposedly it helps increase the effectiveness of it. Okay. If they take Block works by being consumed about a half an hour before a meal to give the capsule time to open in the stomach, so that when the product opens in the stomach, it can do its job. So if you eat Block, you take Block, and then you eat 2 hours later, it's already gone through and it's no longer in your stomach. If you eat, oh, I forgot to take my Block, and you take your Block after, by the time it opens up to be effective, you've already absorbed a lot of that sugars and carbs that you're trying to prevent. So that is why it really is the one that you need to try and make sure that you eat it around 30 to 45 minutes before a meal, so that it's ready to go, waiting for you when you start eating that high carb or sugary meal. It's recommended they can take 1 or 2 Block before their largest meal of the day or before the 2 largest meals of the day. Getting started, I would suggest just 1 before their largest meal of the day, because it may make them feel really full. It may make them feel gassy or bloated. Some people do report that. I mean, this is white it's white bean extract, like beans. Hello. If you feel gassy, it's the beans. So in that aspect, I would start off with 1 as well. And if they like it, they like the way they feel. There may be a little bloating at first in the first few days. So if they report that, just say that can happen, and it is fairly common. But for the most part, people did see pretty quick transfer. I mean, I saw some pretty amazing testimonials of like facial features change, stomach fat change. So I think it works great for a lot of people. However, if they're someone who eats fairly clean and they don't eat a whole lot of carbs and sugars, I really don't think that Block is probably a product that's going to benefit them a whole lot. All right. X Factor, I take my X Factor with a meal, either breakfast or lunch. If I forget it at breakfast, I take it with lunch. Some people mix it in their Slim, and they really like it that way. It turns the Slim more of a red color, a deeper pink, like a red color, and it supposedly tastes really good. I know one of our ambassadors, Donna, drinks it that way, and she said a lot of the ambassadors out in the West Coast, that's how they drink it, and they like it that way. So if you want to mix it up and give it a try one day, feel free. All the capsules can be opened and consumed The ProBio is the only one that they recommend that you don't. However, it is still somewhat effective if you do. Like if you have kids and your pediatrician gave you permission to give it to them, but they're not yet able to swallow a capsule, and the company says you're not supposed to open it, well, testimonials are showing that it is effective. It's probably just not as effective when it's opened. Okay. Other than that, Plexus has said all of the other products can be opened and consumed. I will tell you that the block tastes horrible. I've tried it because I forgot to eat it, and I'm like, oh well. I open it up and I'm like, this is nasty. All right, but I mean, it's seaweed. Okay, so it's just, it's that seaweed that's in there. It's pretty gross, but yeah, you can open the capsules and mix them with something. So if they have a hard time swallowing capsules, they can mix. And block made me think of one other thing. Sorry, I should have addressed this earlier, but block has naturally occurring iodine because it's seaweed. It does have naturally occurring iodine in the form of iodide with a D. Iodine is considered a superfood for people with thyroid issues. So for someone who's hypothyroid, that can be a great thing for them. However, there are people who are hyperthyroid or have thyroid issues where the doctors have them on restricted iodine. So if they're not allowed to have iodine, that's something that would be important for you to let them know. And most of the time, I mean, they're going to ask if they've got an underlying illness like that. But for the most part, it's a great product for someone because a lot of people are iodine deficient. However, I personally don't recommend it for breastfeeding moms, except on an occasional basis, because a lot of people consume iodine in iodized salt or seafood or other supplements. And just to make sure it doesn't get too high for baby, that's my recommendation. But again, they really should be taking these to their doctor and asking anyway. Okay, Mega X. Have we heard any verdict, Clark, on Mega X? Just whenever you take normal supplements in the morning, breakfast, I haven't heard. It does. I don't think it says on the bottle if it's supposed to be taken with food or anything. So that's one that the X Factor and the Mega X, I usually take those with my Slim in the morning. 96 shakes. How to take your 96 shakes. You can mix it with water. With water, it's 96 calories, hence the name 96. I personally am not a shake fan, and I don't care for 96 when it's mixed with just water, but I love the 96 when you mix it with coconut milk and Slim. It tastes phenomenal. Really, really good. There are tons of recipes in the Plexus Power Tools. So if you have someone who loves to drink shakes as a meal replacement and they want all kinds of great recipes, there's like 3 or 4 pages of recipes that they can use the shakes for.
There's a bunch of stuff in Pinterest too.
Okay, yeah.
Like making brownies and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, like the protein balls where you roll them up and you make the little protein balls. Yeah, there's some really cool recipes. So, so just because someone doesn't care for the taste in water doesn't mean there aren't some really awesome things. I mean, having been drinking this and then trying some other things, now that it's been on back order, I can tell you it actually tastes pretty good compared to some other things out there on the market. So, all right, Ease capsules and cream. The Ease cream and the body cream both are great for the skin as long as you don't have a shellfish allergy with the Ease cream. They just, rub it on their joints, their muscles where they're hurting and that kind of thing. And it's almost like a natural Bengay kind of product. Has the menthol smell, but a little bit of other essential oils to make it smell better. And supposedly from the people with muscle pain and joint pain, it actually feels to them like it gets in deeper and helps better. The Ease capsules, again, have shellfish, so make sure they're not allergic to shellfish. They kind of stink. It's mussels. So if you have someone who doesn't like mussels and they open that bottle and they're like, oh, this stinks, have them put it in your fridge, and the smell is a little bit better when it's kept in the fridge. There is, Clark, are you over there? Do you recall what the loading dose for Ease capsules is off the top of your head? No. Okay. There is a loading dose. I believe that it is 2 capsules 2 or 3 times a day, but don't quote me on that. It's on the bottle. So if someone's got, a lot of pain, they can start off taking more, and then they can back down. But yeah, I typically just recommend what's on the bottle for the Ease capsules. It says it on there. The Ease also has digestive enzymes, and it can really augment digestive health as far as getting that fungal overgrowth out. So, it might be something to consider recommending if they're working on their gut health too. That just came to mind. So, and then the body cream. I love the body cream. I think it's great for all things skin. There's really no, recommendation on that. It's just bug bites, rashes, burns, sunburns, you name it. You got a skin problem, rub some on there. It's great stuff. It's a good moisturizer too. And I think that pretty much covers that. Do you have any questions, Amanda, on? I think we lost you. You'll have to go back and ask her.
I had a question because the X Factor has the chewables as well.
Oh yes, X Factor.
Is there a difference in like effectiveness or anything? Because I know I'm just curious if there's a difference in effectiveness, like for someone who doesn't like to swallow pills.
Yeah, the X Factor chewables don't have the aloe.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
So the X Factor itself has that increased absorption with the aloe, because aloe can increase the absorption of the vitamins by like 350 to 400%, right? So if they can possibly swallow it, or if they can put it in something, like mix it in with a Slim, I would definitely recommend the X Factor. But for children, the X Factor chewables is great, and supposedly as long as they can chew food without risk of choking, so like age 2, then they can start using that. It's got a sour grape flavor, and my kids like it okay, so certainly give it a try. And there are some people who prefer the chewables over the capsule, and that's okay too. But I would, first off recommendation, I would go with the regular X Factor. So. All right, any other questions you can think of?
I didn't have any more, no.
All right, then I'm going to stop the recording, and if anybody watches this video and has other questions that I did not address, feel free to ask me questions in the thread, okay?